everybody. What do you think? I'm done. I'm finished of it. I'm absolutely finished. Yeah, that's used up nearly all of what I had rubbish. You know me, frugal me. So for anyone who doesn't know, this isn't a curtain you can buy like this. This was remnants of an old one, bits and pieces. I've had to do surgery on a few bits that weren't quite long enough. I had lots of little bits. So a few it's the red ones I was quite short of. So every now and then I put a couple of gold ones together just to make the length. But some of the red ones I had lots of little bits. So they've had surgery to make them long enough. They go all the way down to the floor, both sides. Whereas I said I had initially, I've got a little table just here, which this board's standing on. So I said, well, if I didn't have enough, I could put short ones. I wasn't going to put the board back, but I quite like the board. This is all my cards from people. I think when I'm not wearing my badges, my stickers you guys send me, and I make them into badges, I think I might actually put them along the top there so you can see them all the time. That might be my next plan. So they're up all the time anyway. So yeah, we've got cards from Danny Day's Homestead. That one's from Andrea at Digging for Health, and that one's from Anne and Dale Homestead. So if you want to send me anything, I will pop it on the board. This is just something I already had, and that one, and pictures of mine. Possibly I was thinking about maybe putting things maybe down the side of the pink. This is still one of the original backdrops that was here before. I had 3 different, they're like beach wraps, that's what they really are. And I thought, well, this is the prettiest one. I knew I wouldn't have enough to go the length. On my last live, I actually got up and did a little pencil mark how far I had to go that way, because this isn't the end of the wall. And that side, it literally stops just so you can maybe just about sit at the top here. So that just fits perfectly. I cut all the bottoms off. So as I say, they're all floor to ceiling. And this was part of the reason I had to do it. When I just had these up, 3 of these different colour ones, there's a little screw in the wall, and I balanced a bit of bamboo there and just kind of hung them over. And it didn't go to the ceiling. So if I slightly changed my angle, you would have seen just sort of it stops and then the ceiling. So these actually go right up to the ceiling. And we've got quite high ceilings here. Not amazingly high, but they're pretty substantial ceilings. And then this I've put back here. That's my favourite one. So what do you think? It's not for Christmas, it's for permanent. It's performing me. So this is remnants of the old dance stage, which if you saw my last video, I think it's last but one, or maybe one prior to that, the repurpose of the donkey stable, you will see what these came from. As I say, these aren't the curtains, they're literally all loose bits and pieces that I managed to save from when we took that down. You couldn't just take it down as a curtain. I've explained that before, why that was not so. They were up permanent as a fixture, and it wasn't permanent. And I will do more in that series of the repurpose of the donkey stable, because it's transformed yet again. It's got yet another purpose, and you will see that in other episodes. So that series hasn't finished. It will carry on, trying to catch you up to where we actually are with that one. So I hope you enjoyed that, and you can see how much work we do here. Everyone thinks I work hard, but doing that was probably the hardest, biggest job, and we're not done yet. So let's do some catch-ups. Let me see my notes. Oh, just lots of bits and pieces I've been doing. You know how you get all those really silly little jobs, and you think, oh yeah, I must do that. Oh yeah, I must do that. And you think, oh, they won't take too long, but they end up building up to so many jobs. So I've tried to do some of those. Well, I bought this mat. It's a mouse mat some time ago. My last but one, I think, to Jumbo. It's a big shop, and I've always seen mouse mats, but I don't like them. I wanted something that was me. So I saw this one. I thought it's good, but they're quite thin and they move around the desk. So I knew Mike had some rubber matting. So I've got this. It's not double-sided sticky tape. It's what you use for making cards, and it sticks out a bit. It's double-sided, but it's sort of sticky, spongy stuff. So I thought, well, if I put that all over it, that will stick, and it is holding it on fine. But it also makes it a bit more cushioned. Don't know if you can see how thin the mat is. So I did that. It took longer than you would think because I can't see straight. So trying to make it fit, I drew around it and blah, blah, blah. And so there we go. So I did that. Mouse mat's done. What else? Oh, kit update. He was just here before I did the live, but I had to go off and get my water, so I had to put him down. So he's gone off now, but he was here, and I thought, oh, I need to just press go live. He's doing okay, still on his medication. So we've paid for the medication up to now. So if you can help at all with that, that would be greatly appreciated. We don't know if it's going to be ongoing, long term, or always. We won't know till he's finished this lot, which is, I think in total it was going to be 2 months worth we've paid for. I say we paid for, the vet actually let us off a big amount of the vet bill because he knows our circumstances and that I've got no income at all. So if you can help at all, that would be really much appreciated with paying the vet bill, and then we might be able to get some treats for Christmas. So right now, my birthday's tomorrow, so nothing's going to happen for that now. Can't afford anything, not even petrol to go anywhere. And obviously Christmas is a no-no now, no treats for us, but that's fine. My cat's alive, so that's great. And anyone who is a bit down at Christmas, then just think of what you have got. Don't think about what you haven't got. Think about what you have got. And however bad your luck is or your situation, there's going to be someone worse off than you that probably is just like me, just blanks over it and shows the more positive side of life. So just think about what you have got. And I'm pretty sure there will be someone out there who would quite gladly swap places with you. So just think about that a little bit. And if you see my comment at the top of this chat, for those of you who join later on and haven't seen it and you can't scroll back to it, I put, because I always put a little something at the top of my chats of my live. So if you can look at those, it's always worth a look. I put, it's my birthday tomorrow. So take a good look at this face, as it will be a whole year older tomorrow. Oh dear, thanks for the thumbs up, guys. It's really appreciated. Yeah, so don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I was thinking about going out for a walk, but there's reasons which I'll come to in a minute. The whole story, the title of this live that I'll get to, and then it's where I'm not sure if I could go out tomorrow morning for a walk. We'll see, but I'll tell you more about that in a minute. Just do the basic catch up first. Today I've been doing more of the olive trees. Where am I now? I did all the lower olive grove that was done a while ago. I'm on the upper olive grove, and I would say I'm probably halfway through doing that. More of the trees are done than halfway through, but the ones I'm doing now are, I didn't think they needed much sawing, but there's a few big trunks in the middle that, and I hand saw everything. Obviously would never dare to use a chainsaw. I just can't do that. You've heard how I can just suddenly, I don't just drop things. I literally do some sort of reaction and I lob them somewhere. I know they cut out, but it'd be a bit late. So I would never even touch a chainsaw. So I have to saw by hand, and that's dangerous enough for me. Thank you very much. So I would say I'm more than halfway through the upper olive grove, but as I say, the amount of trees, not so many, but they are ones that are going to need a bit of a saw. And then I would say I've got another 2/3 left to do of the whole garden. So I'm doing okay. It's like this afternoon, I went to go back and do some more, but I needed to make a video and make dinner and some bits and pieces. So I think the amount of sawing I do, maybe half day's enough. I feel I can do more, but it's probably good when you're doing something not monotonous. Now I've got my mobile phone, I put a podcast on. And if any of you have got podcasts, do let me know. I've only got one gardening one that I actually listen to at the moment, which is Robin and the guys from, oh gosh, I shouldn't spontaneously think of things because I don't know. Samson and, oh gosh, what's her name? Samson and, oh, it's gone. And I watch them all the time. Samson, I'm sure you guys know. And she does a podcast with Robin. They're Australian. So Diane, is it Diane? Diane and Samson. Should be on my list. Why do I think it's Diane? Diane and Samson? And they do a podcast. They've got YouTube channels, but they actually do a podcast. I listen to that, which I find quite funny, listening to gardening things. No. Or is it Samson's name first? That would be under S. No. Ooh. I think I have to do a shout out somewhere for them, seeing as I can't think of their names. It's not Diane then. Ooh. Anyway, I'll be here forever trying to think. I will have to do a shout out at some point for them to apologise. As I say, listen to them all the time. Love their videos. They did their life story, literally going into their homesteady type life and slight change of plans and things that happen. So they're really cool to watch if you don't know those. So yeah, well, I'm listening to that, and I've got quite a few podcasts. I quite like comedy podcast or interviews, but like chat interviews. I was listening to 1984 because that's quite a laborious book. So to listen to that, I'm not normally good at listening to that kind of thing. I find I drift, but I was really into listening to that. So that was a good thing for me because I'm no good at audio books normally. So I think because I was doing something else at the same time, it seemed to work quite well. So yeah, if any of you guys do podcast, I do watch one who a YouTube channel I watch that have a boat on the canal, but they stopped doing their podcast, so no point promoting that one. Yeah, any of you do podcasts or can recommend them? As I say, I quite like interviews, but fun ones like chit chat. Gardening ones, yeah, I wouldn't like to keep playing them. Then I go on to Boom Radio, BOOM, which is it plays all 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s music only, and it's the old English DJs have come back together and made a radio station, and they all record from their own homes. But they all have their schedule, so I jump around. I do a bit of music. I can't just listen to music non-stop, so I jump around podcasts and then that. So yeah, as I say, if any of you know good podcast at all, any subject really, as I say, chit chats, comedy, anything you think I might like, just let me know, because it's quite hard to actually find a podcast unless you know one particularly, I think. I know there are categories, but you've got to type in the right sort of words, well, I think anyway. So yeah, if you've got a good podcast, do let me know, either yours or one you like. I'd be really grateful for that. That would be helpful. And then, of course, I've got this massive pile of all the leaves. Last year, I put them all out and the goats ate the leaves, and then I had like the good wood. Yes, you can compost them, but if you've seen how much I've got, it wouldn't compost down, because I've said before, the actual threads that all the leaves are on, the thin ones, don't break down very well, so you've got to chop them up. So there's Dawn with her little secateurs. Can you imagine? I've done quite a lot, but if you see the pile, you won't believe I've actually done any. And I've got two piles, one down the bottom in the lower olive grove and one where I am at the minute. There'll be another pile. And I have cut a lot of those down. I do need a chipper. There's no way I'll ever get a chipper. I think they're really expensive, but I need a chipper. That would really make my life good. And then we went in the evening, we watch YouTube of things that Mike particularly likes that I'm happy to watch as well. So none of you guys particularly, though a few he does, but there's channels that sort of we got same interest of and other things. And one was the homesteading channel, and we sat and watched it, and I was like, yeah, I just want to forget about the olives right now. And the girl, she's got this gadget. It's like secateurs, but it's kind of automatic. I don't want one of those. When I saw, like, she has to keep recharging it up. And she says you have to keep fixing the approximate size that you want to snip. You can imagine if you're snipping loads of different things. So, yeah, I didn't think it was worth the bother. But anyway, she's sitting there going, oh, I've got these few olive trees I've picked. I now need to snip all these greenery. I was like, yeah, you want to come here, love. So, yeah, finished doing mine. Well, I didn't finish, but what I wanted to do. And I'm putting it on the hugelkultur beds and on the raised beds. I'm not putting them in the compost. My plan is now we started strimming. We've done our first strim. It's not very tall, the grass, but we want to keep it that way because Mike uses an actual strimmer to cut all our land. He sometimes uses a lawnmower, but he said that's too expensive now to use a lawnmower, so he's going to do strimming. He thinks that's more productive or cost effective as well. So he's done his first trim, and he said, you've emptied out all the compost area. Why, like, aren't you putting it in there? Because I rake it. And I said, no, the first thing is it's going to pile up on everywhere, and that can compost itself. I'm kind of off the idea of just making the compost, when the first rule should be use it all on your hugelkultur beds, your raised beds, put it everywhere while you're not growing much there. And by the time you come to use it, it's composted down, or at least broken down, and you can plant. You filled up, particularly raised beds, they just drop, don't they, the amount. So I was like, why am I putting it in the compost pile, then taking it out the compost pile? And what I did last year, I will be doing a video to kind of show you. Last year, I decided that I only want compost for new seeds. So when I'm growing seeds, as in pots or my indoor garden, I want to use my compost. But I also want tons of broken down grass, straw, hay, that kind of thing. So what I did, I put it all in my compost piles last year, but I didn't turn at all. And then that left, as I say, I'm going to make a video. I've documented it all for you so you can see, and it might be an idea for you, depends on what you want to do. It meant the whole bottom half became compost of each of the areas, and the top parts was dried out straw, hay, broken down bits, but not broken down as into compost. So all that straw and hay, I love that, particularly for my hugels. That's what I need to top up every year, and things grow better in there. It protects them, it germinates them. That's what I want. So the top half was all straw and hay, the bottom half all compost. And now I'm using that compost. I've emptied it all out, put in great big buckets, and buckets like dustbins. and big pots and everything. I've collected it all, cleared out. I've still got one side to do by the hugel bed compost, but the other one's completely empty now. So when I've finished using all the cut grass and everything, and I've got enough everywhere, things can then start going back there. And then they're all in these big dustbins and tubs and things on my patio where I'm doing my containers. I've started my indoor garden. I've actually edited the first one of that today. I came in early to edit it because I had so much footage of following the journey of what I've planted this year indoors in plastic containers, and give you a bit of an idea how quick they grow the way I grow. So it's all my own home compost in the plastic containers in my indoor garden. And as I say, a few dates just to show you how quickly they're growing. And that's what I'm using all that compost for, home compost. I never buy compost. We have no soil here. Any soil or earth you see is purely my own making. I make it all. And yeah, that's great. So things are going on well there. As I say, I've edited the first one. I had so much footage. I'm like, oh, it's what I call a boring edit to do. You just keep seeing me opening containers and then this date and opening containers. It's fun for you to watch, but to edit that, I'm like, hold on, where was that bit? And you have to try and point in the order. I did put dates on it as I filmed, but it all got a bit mixed up, as it would. So yeah, you should see what I'm trying to grow. I'm ignoring dates of you can grow this now, you can't grow this now. Completely ignoring it. I'm just growing everything. And as everyone says, weather's changed a bit and climate and all that stuff. So I thought, well, what's to say? I mean, does a seed know what season it is? No. In these plastic containers, they're cozy, they're warm. I actually felt the soil. I was taking some, I'm already transplanting, so that gives you some idea. I took some out and the soil was not just warm, it was hot. It was hot. I was like, no wonder you're germinating. And I don't do any of this anymore of, it depends where you live and what your climate is. So I know people do things different way. This is what I do. But I no longer even bother with this paper towel and put seeds on it. All I do, I get the plastic containers, put my compost in, stick some seeds in, label them and shut the lids. A little bit of water. And then because the lids are shut and the sun's coming in through the windows, obviously you don't need to water unless you haven't sealed it properly and it dries out. But yeah, everything's coming on. And as I say, the amount of stuff, people will be like, that won't grow when I show the first lot of what I've sown. It's like the only things I haven't started off are things that I would put straight in the ground, as in I don't like to disturb them. Things like sweet corn, because I'm quite new to growing sweet corn. I'd rather just shove that straight in the ground, not worry about am I going to disturb the roots to transplant. So those kind of things. I'm not very good at transplanting onions. I have grown some indoors and I do transplant them, but things like that I often like to do some indoors and some outdoors. So at least if they do grow indoors and I transplant them, they don't all successfully transplant. That's why I have trouble with them. I can transplant them, but if I put some indoors and they grow, then they'll be early ones. So that's pretty cool. So that's my indoor growing. What's going on there? As I say, I've already started transplanting some, and then I transplant some things into, I've said before, the great big water bottles that you have in, say, machines in offices, upside down those. And I've always done a slit round them, not completely cut through, but quite an amount, put some soil in there. I don't put, by the way, holes in anything. So I never punch holes anymore. I gave that up a couple of years ago. I don't bother punching holes for drainage. If you don't overwater something, it doesn't need to drain. If it's draining, you're probably overwatering in the first place. So that's my idea, my concept. So I'm actually using far less water. Yes, you've got to check it. The only time I would use, say, a flower pot with a hole in the bottom, let's say, it's maybe outdoors, and when I'm watering it, I'd have it on another flower bed, and then if you overwater, it can go through. But on the whole, particularly indoors, don't use holes. Nothing with holes. No, I gave that up a long time ago. What else? Oh, so I've still been collecting seeds and things. I've picked some more okra today. Another one I found needs seeding. I'd finished all those last live. I was sitting here. So I've got to do that one in a minute while I think of it. Mike went out, he found some cheap apples, and he just came home with a big bag of cheap apples. He went, apple crumble, wife. It's like, okay, I had plans, but okay. So, of course, I've kept all the seeds. I always end up tipping these over my computer. So I've kept all the seeds. I feel if you buy fruit or vegetables, keep the seeds, and then you feel the product you've bought, I feel you've paid for seeds, really. So why buy seeds? Why not buy produce? You can see if it's nice ones or something different and keep the seeds. Why pay out for a seed? We buy food, and it's food and seeds. So that's what we like to do. That's a frugal thing for us to do. So yeah, I've got apple seeds, made apple crumbles. What else? Any other updates? Oh, yeah, broccoli. I picked my first broccoli to freeze because that's my first broccoli that we haven't had to use. That's like extra that I can put in my freezer since I've had my freezer. And I went, oh, look, Mike, I've got my first lot of broccoli that can actually go in the freezer, harvested. And he went, oh, can we have that for dinner? It's okay. It was a good portion, but yes. So we had that. And I thank Kathy from Little Garden Big Dreams for helping me buy my freezer. She actually paid for most of that. We just put a little bit to it. Do check out Kathy's channel. Let me just type it in because I wouldn't be able to do all this extra growing without that. So that was really great. Little Garden Big Dreams. Do go and check Kathy's channel out. She's delightful. She really is. And she had a really funny story on her last video. She got a bargain, and that wasn't a case of buying a bargain. No. Really interesting story. You just have to go and listen. Okay, so I've forgotten what I titled this now. Something about you won't guess what happened. I couldn't believe it myself either. Let me do a quick little backstory, very briefly. I know some of you don't watch every single one of my lives. If you do, you will be really up to date on what happens because I don't do everything in my videos. This is really a good chit chat, bits and pieces. But if you want to know something, this is where you'll hear it first or only on my lives. WORKAWAY, which are volunteers, it's a big organisation it's in America, but it's the whole world, and you can go and sign up to WORKAWAY if you want help with absolutely anything, whether it be at homestead, decorating your house, tidying up, looking after your animals, whatever you need. You go on WORKAWAY site and you can either say what you want or search people that are on there. And if you're a host, like I am, a volunteer host, then you don't pay anything to go on the site because they need people to accommodate the volunteers. And all we give them, we ask them for 3 hours, Monday to Friday, 3 hours help. And in return, we just give them somewhere to sleep, accommodation. Because we don't provide food, we obviously have to provide them with an area to cook in. They don't have to be in your house at all. I know a lot of people would be dubious about having a stranger in your house. There are certain checks done by the WORKAWAY site, but obviously I understand that particularly if you're on your own or a female perhaps, or an older person, you might not want them in your house. So you just got to provide somewhere they can sleep, eat. You can invite them in your home or cook for them or get them to cook for you, but because we only ask for 3 hours per day, we don't have to provide food. We just have to provide somewhere for them to cook. You don't have to provide like washing machine, or it's not a holiday. So you're not providing holiday accommodation. Obviously, a toilet and a shower, that could be yours, or it could be an external one. It's up to you. Anyway, if you want to know more about WORKAWAY, you can either go, I'll put it in the link below, the link to our site where you can find out about us. So go and have a nosy, and you'll kind of see how you have to lay out the page and what we say, and because you know me, so you can kind of say, oh, right, okay, Dawn says this. So do click the link below. It won't charge you anything, or you won't have to sign up or anything. You can just look at my site. And if you want any help about becoming a host or ask questions, I really like it. So I will help you any way you like and say, well, I need someone to do this. How would I do that? It can be for a one-off thing. It could be a long-term stay. It can be a short stay. It's a way for the volunteers to come to your country and go out and about and learn things and have a mini holiday, but in return for accommodation, they give you help. So, as I said, the volunteers have to pay to go on the site because they don't want just random people going on a site. So by paying, it shows they're serious. I believe, I don't know, it was something like €20 for a year. There are ways you can get a discount on that, and if you sign up, get someone else to sign up, I believe they can get it for free, so on and so forth. There are ways. I don't know a lot about that side of it, the volunteer side, the cost, because I don't do that side. I can also tell you about the rules. There are rules about you can't have them to do like come and work in your restaurant, that kind of thing, because that is taking work away from people of your country. So if it's a proper job or something towards your income, then there are rules about that. But I can tell you about that if you're interested in that. Anyway, we've had this one. I've been telling you, keeping you up to date the last few lives about this guy that was supposed to be coming to WORKAWay to volunteer here, and we got a message from him to say, this was a couple of weeks back now, I'm coming to Cyprus tomorrow, do you still want help on your olive farm? I put yes. Although we're normally closed December, yes, we've always got something that we can have help with, projects and things on the land. So yes, that would be great. Thank you. And then we hear nothing from a long time from him, and he did give me a link that I could go and sort of see something he'd done on his YouTube channel. So we looked at it just so we knew who he was, sort of got an impression of him. And we heard nothing more from him. And I was kind of, well, are you coming or what? Luckily, I'd already picked the olives, but he didn't know that. We might have needed him for the olive picking. So we got a message to say, well, I was here. We live here. I was here. I arrived here. I'm now doing here free diving and other sports. But when I've done all that, I will gradually continue this way to yours. So I was like, okay. So I explained, no, where you first came, where you went second and third, we're like there. And haven't heard anything since. Now, Mike said, and I thought the same, because of the weather, it's been a bit rainy on and off. Maybe he couldn't do the diving. He's come to Cyprus for that. He's going to wait and sit the weather out. And I know that side of the island's been quite bad for weather. So he doesn't want to come all this way and not do what he's come to do. So I thought, I'll give him time. Mike said, oh, tell him to forget it, basically. But it's better to leave it rolling, because then if he doesn't turn up at all, you can then report him to the site for letting you down, because we only have one place for them to sleep on the site. And so therefore, if someone doesn't come and doesn't say they're not coming, you're kind of holding it when you could have had someone else. So that's stopping you getting help, basically. So I like to leave it to roll, rather than saying, oh, well, you're not coming, then forget it. And then you're the one who's cancelled, even though you've got good reason. Anyway, so I've just left it. I've left it for now, but of the impression he's probably not coming. Oh, and I said to him also, to kind of get a date and get it rolling, I said to him that we don't accommodate anyone over sort of Christmas and January, because I don't want him turning up for Christmas. I've had this chat before, but you do get some workaways that are a bit stuck for Christmas if they don't actually have a property. A lot of people now don't own a property, they just do work away and pick up jobs en route, basically, but they know they've always got a bed for the night. So a lot of them are looking for places to go for Christmas, because a lot of hosts don't want anyone over Christmas, so they're a bit stuck. So Mike seemed to think he was sort of reserving us for Christmas and say, oh, I'm fine now, I can come. Oh, it just happens to be Christmas. So I just put that to cover my back. Well, we can't have you there. Sounded like we probably have relatives come or whatever. Okay, sorry for the long story if you've heard this on my last live, but for the people who don't know, you wouldn't understand what's going to happen next. Anyway, so that's that. We think he's not coming. If he leaves it too long, I'll say, well, too late now and whatever. Anyway, I was doing some editing yesterday. What day is it? Friday. Mike was out shopping Friday. And I was doing some editing and stuff. And our front door, there's a slidey bolt on it. And if one of us is in, we don't normally do it. But occasionally Mike doesn't go out that way. If he goes out the other way. He might have forgotten to slide it if he didn't go out that way to go shopping. If he went out another way to get, say, the containers for the diesel or something like that. Anyway, so I'm sitting editing, and the front door's just out my door here. And there's suddenly this funny little knock on the door. You know how people knock like with funny little tunes and patterns. And I was like, he's left that bolt and he's trying to come in this way. So I go, you know how you start talking as you're opening the door if you know it's someone you know. And I was going, oh, what are you knocking silly on my door like that for? And as I open the door, it's not Mike. It's this really tall man. And I was like, oh, hello. And basically he's saying that he said, oh, you're Dawn who does WORKAWay. So I was like, yes. Now, let me just say as well, for the volunteers, when they volunteer, they get a map of, say, Cyprus, and it homes in on an area, but it's too big for you to know. It wouldn't even be your village. It'd be bigger than that. So quite a big area, approximately, like a region, if you like. So they know whereabouts, but you couldn't even begin to find it. Anyway, and bear in mind, we don't have an address anyway. So he said, oh, you do WORKAWay? I was like, yes. And he said, well, I've come for WORKAWay. So I said, you're not this other guy's name who's supposed to be coming, but bear in mind, we'd seen him on his YouTube channel, and I was like, this isn't him. So I said, you're not him, are you? And this guy at the door didn't speak very good English. So he's like, I don't know. Let's say the name was Michael. So I said, you're not Michael, are you? And he's like, what's a Michael? I don't understand what a Michael is. So I said, no, don't worry. You're not this guy. Right, okay. I said, forget that. because he's struggling with the language. And he said, I was very nervous to knock on your door. And I thought, hold on, what's he talking about Workaway? And I couldn't make head or tail of it. And he didn't speak very good English to explain. And he's saying he is a workawayer. He's a volunteer. Like, how can he be? I don't understand that. So it takes us a while to understand it. But basically, long and short of it, without going through the whole conversation, he said he used to be a workaway. So he knows the workaway and he has access to the site. And he said it used to be, he says, €20 to be a volunteer on there. Now, he says that it's now €40 to be a volunteer. Can't say that's right or wrong. I don't know. That does sound a massive jump, but I don't know. So he's saying, well, that it's €40. So he said, I can't pay that. If you want to just do one holiday or one country, €40 is a lot of money, because then you've got to pay your flights and whatever else. So he said, so what I've done is looked, I knew I was coming to Cyprus, and I looked who I'd wanted to go and help for. And he said, I know it says on yours you don't do December. But he said, so I thought there'd be more chance of you still thinking, yes, I've got some work you could do, but not have anyone here. So he said, is it possible to come and do work? So I was explaining about this other guy, and I said, so in a way, I kind of had a list ready to go of exactly what we wanted doing. So I said, yes, this would actually be quite good. So he said, well, at the moment, he said, I flew into the other end of the island, and he said, I booked, now I couldn't work it out whether it's a bed and breakfast or something like that, for 2 nights to be able to drive over here. We're almost the opposite end of the island, to sort of meet you and see if it was okay, or, you know, make other arrangements if not, or else he would have just carried on staying here for a bit and doing bed and breakfast or whatever he was doing. So I said, no, that's actually quite good. So he said, the only thing is, I said, and you're not a smoker, because we don't have smokers. And what was the other thing I said? Saying about the solar, that the reason we don't have people then is it's solar for the hot water. So obviously if you have a shower, it'd be fine the middle of the day, it's still hot, but you can't get up first thing in the morning and have a solar shower. So I said, but bear in mind, if you're going to be working on the land here, you're not going to want to get up first thing, have a shower, and then get all hot and sweaty working. And so I said, so that will be all right. So he's like, oh, no, that's fine. He said, I've read everything. So I was like, well, he's got a car, which is great, because he's driven over here. He's hired a car. And that's a little bit of an issue with a lot of volunteers, because they don't want to hire a car. They kind of want us to take them everywhere. And I don't drive, so that's not practical, and Mike's not here half the time. So that's always a little bit of a sticking point, because we're so rural. There's no shops, there's nothing walkable, so they can't go out and eat. Remember, we don't provide food, so they've either got to keep going out to eat, or at least go to a shop and buy food and sort themselves out. And the whole point of volunteering here is it's supposed to give them the chance and opportunity to discover Cyprus, not just sit here all the time. So he said, no, it's fine. He said, the only thing, he said, because you say you're normally closed December, I just want to check what sort of work it would be, because I've talked before about a lot of people just want a domestic. So I guess he was checking there's actually going to be work on the land, not, oh, yeah, we could do with you. Can you go and sweep the house up and vacuum and, you know. So I thought, yeah, that was fair enough. So I showed him all round. And I'm explaining as we're walking round about the fact about this other guy, or what I've just told you about this other guy. And I said, and the problem is we really have just one accommodation for a workaway. So I said, so the only sticking point is if he'd come, he would have had that, but we could have put you on the studio floor, as in the dance studio. We've got a sofa bed in there, So you could have had that. He said, oh, I'm happy. He said, just a mat on the floor, you know, because I've just turned up and you've accepted me. So he said, as long as, you know, there's something I can sleep on. He said, I don't need a room or special, or he said toilet, shower, room. He wasn't even that bothered about cooking or anything like that. So I thought, this is great. He seemed a really nice guy. So as I'm saying that, I'm thinking, hold on a minute. Why are we saving the other room for the guy who, A, might not turn up anyway, and B, has messed us about, and C, we don't know when he's even coming, if at all. This guy is here right now. He's ready to start work. And he was saying as well, he came on, as Mike said, the Saturday and the Friday. So he would be here Saturday, Sunday, and they don't work weekends. And he said, I will work the weekend. So I was like, no, you won't work the weekend. Weekend's off. So that gave him time to go back, get his stuff and whatever else. So he said he'd be back lunchtime the next day. And that's when he'd come. So we're like, fine. Anyway, so as we're walking around thinking, hold on, so what are we saving the good room for? So we get to there and I said, right, this would be where you're staying. Now, remember, he's thinking he's just having the crappy accommodation and there's a nice accommodation for the guy who's not coming. But he doesn't know that I've thought, no, let him have it. So I said, this is where you're being. He's like, wow, this is luxury. And it was so funny because he didn't realise I'd changed my mind and he was getting the better accommodation. He's like, I don't need all this. I don't need this special place. I said, no, you're having this one now. This is what the other guy was going to have. He's like, no. He said, I'll go wherever you was going to put me. So I showed him where the other place was. He said, no, this is lovely as well. This is perfect. This is really nice. So I said, no, you're having the other accommodation. He said, no. He said, I didn't book to come. I've just arrived. I've just turned up. You was expecting me. You've been so kind to say, yes, I can come. I can stay. So I was like, no, you're having this. So he did his first work today. He said the only thing is he had other plans of what he wanted to do while he's here. So he said, is there a set time he has to do that? It's 3 hours a day. Is there a set time? And I said, no. The summer there is. Summer, I like them to start 8 o'clock really in the morning because they do 3 hours, 8, 9, 10. And any of you who live in a hot climate will know that by 10 it's too hot to even do outdoor work. So I say if they want to start earlier they can, but I'm not telling them they've got to get up earlier. So I say 8. But obviously this time of year, yes, it's hot the middle of the day, but it's not like ridiculously hot. Though he had to take his top off, he got so hot. So yeah, I said no. So he said, well, is it all right? He said, if I start at 11. So I said, yeah, that's up to you. As long as you do your 3 hours, don't care. And he did. He's cut our hedge that every time we have a WORKAWay, cut the hedge. Cut the hedge. So I have done before and after shots. I've got a little bit of sneaky filming of him today doing it. I do put on the WORKAWay site that you will be filmed because it will be promoting the fact that we accept volunteers here. So he says he's read all that, so that's fine. So I've got before and after shots and obviously that. I will try and do an interview with him because I know you all like to see that, where they're from, and so I won't fill you in on details about him. I will. And if any of you got questions, if you're quite quick, send me questions you'd like me to ask my volunteers. So if any of you have got some great questions, you have to do it fairly soon. He's here for 2 weeks because I said that as well, that I said obviously we don't have anyone over Christmas, even though I've accepted you December, don't have anyone over Christmas. So when was you intending on going? So I said the 18th, would that be all right? So I said, yeah, that's great. That's probably just enough time to get everything major that we want done. And he worked hard today. I'm really impressed with the work he did. Really nice. Good job. And he's very tall, which is a godsend when you've got people you want to do high cutting. And so I said to Mike, I'm going to change like the order of jobs I've done, anything high up. And it was funny because when he came, he said, right, I'm ready to start the work. So I said, right, come with me. And I got the tools out the tool shed, and I'm carrying all these great big, I don't know what, these really long sheary things, the really long handle things, and a couple of other sheary type things and loppers and whatever. And I'm carrying all these. And I'm trying to say to him, the wheelbarrow's there, bring that wheelbarrow. And I couldn't move my arms because I'm holding all this stuff. And he doesn't know what a wheelbarrow is. And I'm trying to indicate with my head, and he doesn't know what I'm doing. So it took a while, and I'm like, there, that thing there. Anyway, so eventually, so I've got all this stuff. And I wanted to just put it all down when we got to the hedge. It was a walk to the hedge. So I put it all down. And I'm saying to him the hedge, because it goes all one side from the pool. If you've seen my property, when you look out from the pool, that's the hedge. So you'll see it grows quite tall, and we like it down so you can see all the land beyond ours. So you've got that. Then you've got the utility block, the bamboo, if you know the great big bamboo. Then the utility block, which is their toilet and shower. And then you've got trees behind it, and then the hedge continues. It's all conifers. That's all it is. It's conifers. But when we first came here, we were to get rid of the top of them, make it a hedge so you can see the views better. And it really makes a difference. Already me and Mike were standing there going, oh, look, this is nice again, because you see much more land near you. So I put all the stuff down, and I was explaining to him, right, there's this bit, but then you have to go round the utility block, and then it carries on or whatever. So he's like, okay, yeah, we've got that. And I explained how high we want it, what height we want it, because Mike's done it before. So if you get close, you can start to see that you've got a line of thick cut, but you've got all the new sprucey bits coming up. So I'm showing, yeah, fine. And he thought I was walking off then, but I was like just sort of showing him this bit as well. And he said, I know I'm tall, but I will need a ladder. I was like, no, I was going round. I was going to show you the ladders around here. So that was quite funny. He's a lovely guy. When he first got here because he arrived and then he was going back to get his stuff. And he said he'd be back 1 o'clock on Saturday. And when he came back, I like to sort of chat with them and get to know who they are and everything. And he said, what are you doing now? I said, well, I've just sort of finished what I wanted to do for the day. And I said, there's walks here if you want to go away, but if you walk, don't go that way, go up the mountain. That's it's prettiest. Up, down is town more, or not town, but you know. So I said, you go up, and he said, oh, whereabouts do you go? And I said, oh, this way, and da, da, da. And he said, do you want to go for a walk and show me some places? So I was like, oh, okay. So we went for a really long walk. And I said, we make this agreement. If you don't understand what I'm saying, you need to say, I don't understand. And if I don't understand what you're saying, I will say, I don't understand. And we will both try to say it in another way or use other words, or because I said, or else we're never going to have a conversation, because he was going to go, oh, yes, yes, yes. And I knew he didn't know what I was saying. And sometimes he'd say things, I'm like, you're polite, aren't you? Go, oh, yeah, yeah. And I said, I want to have a conversation with you. And it took a little while for him to do that. But as we were walking around, and his confidence grew with me. And I said, you don't know what I'm saying? No, no. And we had such a laugh trying to think of different ways of saying things. And he said, that's good, because also by doing that, he's had to try and use more English to think of different connections and that. So, yeah, we're getting on really well. And he had a bit of a chat with Mike this afternoon, because I was editing this afternoon. So I said to Mike, right, you just be around if he needs you and wants to chat and whatever. So yeah, that was really cool. So he's a lovely chap. But as I say, won't tell you too much about him because I'll do that in a video. I always like to do an interview or a little chat. But if you've got any questions, that would be really cool. And I'd like to say, actually, my viewers want to know this and this and this. So if you've got anything or something different, I'll probably make it a bit like my last one, because I've done an interview with all but my very first workawayer. I didn't do my very first workawayer. And people like those videos. And I think I'll do it a little bit like the last one, where a bit of work and a bit of a chat and then a question and a bit of work. So it breaks it all up a little bit. The before, a question, and the after, maybe something like that. They're the sort of videos I love to edit. That's why I like you all to do Q&A videos. I always say, send me questions and I'll make Q&A ones. I just like making those, because I can play around. I didn't do much with the last one. I just answered the questions and put different edits up. But the first, not the first one, but the one prior to that, the Q&A, you know, I went and did different scenes, different places. I had fun with that one. They're the things I like to edit, really. The sort of chit chats and things like that. Yeah, so today he did the hedge. I have plans for tomorrow. Got quite a few, as I say, switcheroo a little bit because he's tall and there is a very tall job that needs doing. So that might come into the play. The jobs I really wanted done, I'd rather now he does the tall stuff, because I can't go up a ladder really. I go up this to do the olive trees, the sort of ladder thing where it has a little loop over the top, like a 3-step thing. I'm quite happy on that one, but an actual ladder, not so much. So yeah, that is, as I titled this video, you'll never believe what happened. I still can't get over that. Oh, so I said, how did you find us? And he says, on Google now, because on the WORKAWAY site, it's called Olive Farm Retreat. Google Maps has got Olive Farm Retreat on it, weirdly enough. So if you want to see where in Cyprus I live, call up the Cyprus map. I'm pretty sure you could just type in Olive Farm Retreat and it would probably... Olive Farm Retreat Cyprus. Yeah, Olive Farm Retreat Cyprus. There's another Olive Farm Retreat. Oh, Mike says there's another one. Oh, that one that, yeah, was trying to get our people, so they called themselves the same name, yeah. So it's Olive Farm Retreat Cyprus, and we're quite near the sea, as you know, so you'll know, bottom. Yeah, so we're really pleased with that. So that was that, really. Oh, that's what I was saying. So I don't know really what I'm going to do now for my birthday, because all I could think of for me was to go for a walk in the morning. But I need to be around for him now, really. Yes, I could go for a walk with him, but he needs to do his 3 hours in the morning. And that's when I'd walk. It's still quite hot here in the day. As I say, he had to take his top off. He was pretty hot. Yeah, and he went swimming yesterday, so in the sea. So that tells you for tourism, it's still pretty warm here. I had a t-shirt on today doing the trees. I was hot with a t-shirt on, but when you start off early in the morning, I actually had a shirt on top, not done up, but just a long sleeve shirt on top, just till it got a bit warmer. What would we say, about 7, no, maybe about 8 o'clock I took the shirt off, and I was just snipping first of all, but then I did a bit of sawing and got really hot. So that gives you an idea, sort of midday. Cools down about by 5. You're starting to, if you're doing work or you're outside in the sun, it's still warm. But if you're just going to sit or be in the shade or go indoors, then about 5 o'clock, it's like, oh, just need sleeves on or whatever. What is it now? 6:30, and it's now dark outside. It's now dark outside, and it's 6:30 at night here. So it gets dark quite quickly this time of year. But it's not cold. It's not cold at all. We've had a bit of rain on and off, not very much, but we did have a bit of rain, hence why we've got grass. I might need to trim it. It's not like long grass yet, but if he goes round and it does rain again, then he's beating the weeds. And it's not everywhere. Do any of you guys get that's got land? It's patchy. So some areas, I'm not saying an area will be tall grass. You'll get a bit and then like almost not quite tufts, but like that. So random. And because we're doing the paving all around our swimming pool, thank goodness, if you remember, Mike put the swimming pool lining down and he's paving on top of that. And I'm really pleased because that little bit of rain, the area around the pool is the worst area for weeds because it's very compact. It's not grass round the pool. It's just earthy, stony. I don't know what it is really, but you can't really pull weeds up. You have to I use a screwdriver. This is my tip for weeds. Use a screwdriver to get deep in those real compacty areas. And because I say the sort of stony, like the grey building stone. I imagine something was done at some point here, and you sort of can gouge through stones and that. So that's my tip of the day, that use a screwdriver for weeding. Best tip I've got for gardening for sure. And I'm making more videos with tips and things like that in. I've always said I need to do that. I've got a list of stuff on my board of other bits. My computer I'm using now, my laptop, which was Mike's one. So it's not ancient. My one I used maybe last year, was it? Maybe even this year when I was doing lives and the lives kept going wrong. That was my old one. That's when Mike gave me his one. And that one was so old that instead of keys with letters on to type, it was carved stone. The letters were carved stone. That's how old it was. But this one now, bear in mind, this is a really old one, but against my one, this is, ooh, how to use this? But now this keeps saying every time I film a little bit, I like to get straight on the laptop and save it on laptop. Because my camera doesn't hold very much anyway. So I like to get it on here. And I just put a little bit on. And it said, do any of you guys get this? Your computer is full. Now, I thought these laptops were supposed to hold quite a lot, but apparently no. But I have since found out part of that is, I don't know what you call it, because you know I'm not very savvy with these things, because this wasn't on my laptop, but I think it's on all devices now. It's that photo video thing where you go down, you button down the bottom side and you bring it up and it says videos or photos. I think it's the Google one, but it's photos, videos. And it's that thing where the photos, you can make albums and save to cloud and all that with pictures and photos, you know, that thing. And you know how it randomly searches and throws some pictures on that. Oh, you might like to make an album out of these. No, thank you. And it just finds, doesn't it? And it gathers pictures. And because this one held more than my one did, Mike had some of my stuff on his as well, which is now this one. And there's things right back to when I lived in England. There's some pictures on that. You might like to make these into an album. And I'm not joking. I said to Mike, in a way, you've already got some of those pictures and that. So they're kind of on your device twice. that's taking up room. Now, I know pictures don't take up much room, but I said to him, well, it's something. I'm only saving little bits of film. I might go and film a bit of seeds or something. So take a few pictures off of that, and that'll give me the space. And I'm going through, I'm not joking, there must have been about 2,000 pictures on that. I haven't even had time to take them all off yet. Hey there, how are you? Nice to see you. Oh, thanks for being here. Appreciate that very much. If you want to put a bit about your channel, Katie, you can do that. Do put a little bit about your channel. That's what you're here. Put it on about your donkeys. I posted today a video of walking up to the donkeys by me up the mountain a bit. So go and check out my walk and you'll see the donkeys here. They've gone now. The donkeys have all gone. All gone. They've closed it down. They were linked to a donkey sanctuary in England and there's been issues going on. So they've moved them all over to another complex. Didn't see that one yet. Check it out later. That's great. I know you love donkeys. Yes, if any of you like donkeys, go on to Mayfield Ranch. That is the place to see your animals and see Charlie. Charlie the pig, that's my favourite. I love the donkeys so much, but there's just something about Charlie. Having donkey visit is the best. You pet them and not pay the bills. How many donkeys have you got there? I'm guessing 6. Charlie's a cutie. It's the way he's like his teeth. He always looks like he's so smiley. He looks so smart. 4. Why do I think you've got 6? Just seems that way when, as Katie's tried to feed them all, she goes in like this barn thing and they come in to get the food. It feels like 6. And she does grow in. Was I looking at your one the other day? Oh, I commented about the peppers. I like your channel because you seem to actually be almost the same-ish growing as me, as in season. I know our weather's a bit different, but I'm the same as you. I've got tons of chilies and peppers and that, but the plants are all like died off kind of thing. He's always smiling because he's always getting snacks. What's his favourite? Yes, you do have quite a long season. Yeah, I like channels that seem to sort of do similar things, as in seasonal. Yeah, I want to know what Charlie's favourite snack is. Will I be surprised? Zucchini! Oh, zucchini. I wouldn't have guessed that at all. Oh, he loves zucchini. He'd like it here. Oh, he'd like to come and live here. I grow zucchini. I do like it. Saltines. I don't know what they are. I keep getting this with you American guys. I was having a laugh with Andrea from Digging for Health. I was like, I'm never playing Scrabble with you. All the animals love crackers. Oh, animal crackers. Is it saltiness? Saltiness? Silly Dawn doesn't know this word. What is it? I'll just make you type. It took me a long time to learn capsicums. Brassicas. Everyone thinks I'm a gardener. Why do people think I'm a gardener? Just because I grow stuff and then I find out things and I share what I learn. I'm not a gardener. You said it right the first time. Saltines. Yeah, what is saltines then? What is saltines? Teach me something new today. Be my guru. Be my teacher. Be my teacher. Isn't that pretty, my chat? Look, it's all anyone with ADHD would love that. It's all neat. It's all the same. It's all the same. Oh, that's crackers. Oh, right. So it's right. That's why you were saying animal crackers. Right. Okay. Get that. Yeah. I don't like anything with my soup apart from bread and butter. Yes. Buttered bread, and then I break it up and put it all in like I'm feeding the ducks. I don't like croutons. I think it, for me, no, I want the soup. I want the soup. And my favourite, what's my favourite soups? Oxtail, like tinned Heinz oxtail, not like the real oxtail. Oxtail soup, mushroom. We have broccoli and what's the cheese? Type of cheese. Who? Stilton and broccoli. It's in one. That's probably one of my top favourites at the minute. It's handy having Mike about listening. He's a bit further away now because he used to be in the kitchen just there because we had his laptop in there and he had headphones on, because I used to say, did he hear that, or has he got his headphones on? But now it's winter, we move into the winter lounge, so now he's a bit further away. Oh, because he's saying hi to you, Mike. He says hello. I don't know if you can probably hear him now, but I think sometimes you could hear him when he answered in the kitchen. So yeah, Mike's good. Yeah, so that's really my catch up. That's quite a lot of little bits. But as I say, we've got a helper now, volunteer. So I have jobs, mostly cutting back and things like that. I don't like to get them to do growing and seeds and that kind of thing. I might have another little wall to be built. If any of you saw my workaways, was it the last ones? Yes, the last one, Magnus and Mia. And Magnus built me a little wall around this area. We'll go make another bed there. And that's full of cooch now, even though I dug all the cooch out. I know you've only got to leave a tiny little bit of root. Some people might not know cooch. It's like a wild grass, but it's one where the roots go like underneath. And if you put anything down to suppress it, it would just grow underground for miles and pop up somewhere else if there's any root. So it's cooch. It's like nasty. You can't compost it or anything. It's nasty stuff. I think there's other names for it, but the type we have is cooch grass. So last year or the year before, I dug it all out. I think I put it in a video. It's a massive area. I dug it all out. It's really where we've got a bit of land that's, I guess, like tiered. So I got Magnus to build a wall up to this level and then I can grow in it. So prior to him coming, I dug it all out, and I know this problem with cooch, and we have two drains, one from the I think the indoor sink, as in behind the bar, the sink there, and I think the other one might be the washing machine one or the shower one. Anyway, we've got two drains going into it, so it's ideal for growing rather than just going on the land nowhere. So I dug it all out and I thought, right, this cooch problem. I got metal sheets and I just laid them all in the bed and then overlapped them and everything. If there was a little hole in one, I made sure that was like double lapped and everything. Then I put all cardboard down, like thick stuff, not just like little bits of cardboard, all there. And then this year there's one area, but it's all come out cooch. I filmed it, so you'll see how bad it is, but it's literally from one area, but it's all just gone. So that's going to be a workaway job. I've done a bit of it, but for me, digging hard is difficult. It's a bit soft because the water's there, but the drains, but I find that quite tiring. So that's going to be a job. And then, as I say, the workaway last time built a little wall up, and then I don't know, it's probably found a little gap and come out. So what I'm going to do this year is when it's all dug out again, get like maybe plastic sack and literally cut a hole, and the drain sticking out, the pipe is about this long. So I'm going to put the bag all the way to the very back of it, maybe even tape it all round, because I think that's where it's coming out, just near where the metal goes up to the drain. There's obviously, as I said, this cooch carries on underneath and will pop up wherever. So if I plasticize all the way back of this drain and all that area, I think that might help a little bit. And then if you see a little bit pop up, you can put stuff on it. I think vinegar and salt and things like that. But as I say, then there's another area by a water tank, a ground floor one, like an irrigation tank. I did try and grow a few little things where that leaks, because we eventually have got to pay for this paint stuff where it's sort of a paint liner. And this stuff is really good because you don't even have to take the water out of the irrigation tank. You can paint inside with water inside. Sounds really good, doesn't it? So that will be something we'll save up for eventually. But as that's dribbling out a little bit, because the walls have never had any treatment or anything on them, so where the brick walls are leaking a bit, it goes down to a sort of, and again, like another little tier, if you like. It's not very big. And I did try growing in there last year, but because it's on this slope, I thought it'd save all that drippy water. It's like a swale, a swale to grow in. But I might get this WORKAWAY, this volunteer, to build a little bit of a retaining wall round that. So I think that might be a little job as well, to build a little wall, so it'd be more worthwhile. I can then put some compost and straw and stuff in that, build it up so things grow better in there. Had some onions growing in there and a few peppers. It was like an overflow area when I'd grown too many and I'd run out of space to transplant outside. I thought, I'll put some in there. And as I say, the water leaking out that tank, it's got a purpose rather than a waste. So yeah, I think I'm going to get him to do that. What else have I got? Oh, the far side of my land, where the track comes down. There's kind of trees. There's a carob tree. There's a big bushy thing and bits and pieces on the fence line. They all just grow into each other. And I want that cut neatly, so it needs to actually go taken back. It's just coming sprawling out on the garden. We've never touched it. So I just need that cutting back. I want to keep it there, and I want it sort of my height, maybe, I don't know, somewhere, and make it almost hedgy. Just keep it all there, make it sort of hedgy, but it needs to all be cut back, and the carob tree, some old bits need sawing off, and that line. Mayfield Ranch says we have broccoli cheddar soup. Oh, that sounds nice. Do you know what we like, though? That cheese that you put in the oven and it melts and you dip in that cheese. We like our cheese. I don't like smelly, mouldy looking cheese. I don't like those cheeses, like the blues and all that. I'm not keen on those, but I like a nice creamy cheese. I like, is it roulade cheese, where it's like the swirl and it's got the green sort of chivy and chili, garlic and that. Garlic, chili. I like the Mexican cheese that has little bits of peppers and things in. Mayfield Raj says we just cut back all of our fruit trees, so hopefully next year we can reach them. Oh, tell me about it. Once I've finished my olive trees, I've got to do the fruit trees. Not familiar with that type of cheese, but it sounds good. Oh yeah. Mike, what's that cheese you put in the oven? Is that the one you bake in the oven? Yeah. Camembert, Mike says. Camembert cheese. And it's like one of those round, it's not wax on it, but it's got a skin on it of some sort. Camembert, Mike says. Camembert. And you just put it in, it's like a yellow sort of cheese, roundy cheese. Okay, I heard of it, never tried it. Oh, you put it in and then the skin kind of, you have to pop the skin on the top when it's been in the oven, and then you can dip bread in or whatever you like to dip in it, and it's all like sloppy, like runny inside. As I say, the skin sort of bit is solid. You have to pop that and then you dip. Oh, if you like cheese, you've got to try that. Is cheese expensive there? Oh yeah, it's yummy. It's like a cheese fondue, but without making the runny cheese. Oh yeah, you got to try and get some of that. Yeah, I'm not very good with cheese names. Everything's expensive. It's not too bad here, which we find is a bit bizarre when we're such a small little island. We find it quite bizarre, really. Not been affected that much. We can still go out, frugal us, and buy meat at a restaurant, any form of meat like steak or anything. It did go up a little bit from when we last went, but it's still reasonable. Feed for the animals gone up so much it's difficult to imagine. Yeah. There's a lot of farmers here now that are actually using part of their land to grow their own straw and hay. So I noticed the most in gas. Has gas gone up, Em? Has gas gone up here? How much is it? For how much is that? 10 kilo gas cylinder. What did you say? 10.50? Oh, 16.50. €16.50. He said that's gone up. That's up. What was it before? Used to be 10.50. Now it's 16.50. So yeah, I guess that's gone up. That's gone up. Can't tell you about bills. I think everyone's saying electricity's gone up, but we don't know anything about that because obviously we don't have electricity. I think it's really paying off now to be off grid. Ours has doubled. Goodness. Good grief. Goodness. That's hard. Yeah, I'm pleased we grow a lot here. Pleased about that. We get free eggs from the stables where Mike helps at. So we've got eggs. We buy one chicken a week. Has the chicken gone up? Has the chicken gone up? Yeah. What's that gone up to from? Used to get a 2 kilo one for €6. Now it's 8. 2 kilo for €6. Now it's €8. So yeah, that's gone up then. Most of it animal feed more than tripled. Good grief. Good grief. Yeah, you've got no options for that, have you, really? We all know what jobs to go into now. Providing food. As you so say, the animal feed's gone up, didn't they? Yeah. Katie's just saying their animal feed's tripled in price. Well, I ain't got that much yet. No. Yeah. So, I think it's about half as much at the moment. Right. Mike says it's doubled here, the animal feed. No, it's gone up half as much. Oh, gone up half as much. You should need to get online, Mike. Of me repeating everything and get it wrong. Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, I suppose where things are produced, then they've got to pay more for the fuel or the running of the machines. So it just sort of counteracts there, doesn't it, really? I think that's kind of, it's that knock-on effect, isn't it? Probably so. Or import. I don't know if your stuff's manufactured there or not. That's why I say really we're lucky when you think surely a small island should be more expensive than mainlands, really. You know, some of the ranchers are reducing their herds to cost. Yeah, But then that makes those products more expensive then, doesn't it? It's a big knock-on effect like that as well. So everything has a knock-on effect to something else. It's like people let people go from jobs, labourers, but then it takes more or longer, and then there's less produce or more rare produce, and so then the prices go up. Sure it will. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. That's pretty bad. So yeah, I think, as I say here, people are now growing their own hay and straw, or if they've got a bit of land, they're just saying to people, right, you can grow it on this bit of land, and then we split the cost. You can have half and sell half and whatever. So I think landowners can do that kind of thing, but obviously the small sort of homesteads, just the small ones, it's very difficult. If you're lucky to have a long season, can juice a bunch of veggies. Yeah, just got to find things that you can do that you can profit on as well for other people, really. If you can think of anything you can provide that's wanted. We were talking about this the other day. Now they've stopped plastic here being produced or imported, and once all the plastic stuff's gone here, they're not allowed to manufacture or import anymore. And it's going to be all of Europe. Whether it goes beyond that, I don't know, but a total ban on plastic. And we've been talking on the lives here to say about a lot of things can be made from hemp. So anyone who's got entrepreneurship out there needs to start making things with hemp. And then suddenly, if it does spread to all of the EU countries, then someone's already producing or got the products of all this hemp stuff that used to be plastic stuff, and they've got the market. That's a challenge. Yeah. Was you not on my live when we were all we came up with all the things that were plastic we could just sit and see and think, well, how could we get over that? And I was saying, I had a guy on that actually does 3D printing, and I was saying, but that's plastic. But he said, no, there was another product that they can use instead, because or else that's 3D printing gone. But yeah, when we sat and thought about it, and we're saying it's medical stuff, there's so much medical stuff. So much is plastic. I knew the alternatives were corn. Right. This is what I think people should do now. Anyone who knows what to do should be doing it. You're going to have the market. Hemp and corn. Yeah. I think it's kind of the warning to start doing something else. I keep meaning to research hemp because I don't know very much about it at all. Blind Neil told me where he thinks I might be able to get hemp seeds from, because we obviously can't import them as far as I know. I'm trying to find anyone who can get hold of them to see if they could actually send me some. But yeah, I think I'm going the hemp route, and then I'll be hopefully the first person in Cyprus. I don't know what to do. I've got no clue how you produce it. I know Blue knows quite a lot about it as well. And I keep saying to her, do a video on it. But yeah, I think if anyone's got space and ability, they should grow hemp. Obviously, you're saying types of corn now, so I need to know more about that. Grow hay, grow straw, grow hemp, start making products. And then once this all goes viral, let's say, then we can all be sitting there with all this product. Go, here you go. Are you allowed to get it there? Don't know. I mean, technically, we're not allowed to import seeds, but you guys have all been sending me seeds. I've got them all. There's no one who said they sent me seeds that hasn't got here. Some have disguised them. Josh actually put on his Australia's like here. I'm of the understanding that when you post something, you have to write what's in the package, and he put seeds. Now, he's not allowed to send them. I'm not allowed to get them. He sent them. I got them. But he said then he couldn't be done because he put his return address on it. Now, what I do when I send my seeds, because I do once a month giveaway, choose someone, a recipient. When I do that, I put them, you'll see if you get them sometime. I do it in a sort of card. And everyone who's received them so far has gone on about how much sellotape I use. But I put them in the little bags, and then I tape them, because they're all seeds I've grown, they're not bought seeds. And then I tape the bags to the card, each one, so they can't move. And also I tape again the seeds sort of so they can't move within their packets, hence all the sellotape. So they at least can't move, because I think if they rattled or people could feel them individually as seeds, they might not get anywhere. And I don't put return address. So there's no telling quite where they came from. But yeah, hemp, I don't know. Blind Neil told me where I'd sort of said you can't get them seed shops, but I was talking to Neil about somewhere there is here, and he said that sounds like the sort of place you get them. But if someone can post them to me, we should be all right to get them. You have a lot of plastic alternatives that are made from corn. I'm interested in this. Tell me more about this, like food wrappers and containers. I haven't got it here, but Mike's already seeing stuff coming to the shops, and I showed it when he bought it, like what do you call them? Q-tips, you call them, like cotton buds, Q-tips. And here you get them now, they're made of bamboo. And I thought that'd be hard, but they're not, they're dead bendy. So I've already got those bamboo Q-tips or cotton buds or earbuds, whatever you want to call them. Hide them in the envelopes, yeah. So it's like a birthday card. It's like a birthday card. It's quite big. It's decent size, and the card is quite thick. So yeah, we don't grow them, so I'm not sure where to get seeds, but I think there are rules against growing them. Oh, right, growing. Why is that? Is it because it can be used for other things? Although I think someone said no, you can't sort of smoke it or anything. I'm sure someone said they're not something you could smoke. I don't know. Right, yeah, they're not like a seed. As I say, I keep meaning to actually Google hemp and find out a lot more about it, because I'm very interested in it. I think it was Blue saying you can do so much with it, but yeah, I'm interested about this corn. What type of corn? You're saying things made from corn. Very interested in that. I want to know more. I never heard about corn. That's very interesting. I'm just trying to think what it'd be. I suppose, yeah, it'd be like, yeah, try to think. I want to know what types of corn, if you know, or can it be any types of corn? Because we could all grow corn, couldn't we? But then how do you manufacture these things? This is what I want to know. Is it something you could do yourself, or probably not? I mean, I put up every now and then, they take a long time to make, but I put up videos about using nature. I've done 2 big ones at the moment. One about making blanket from turkey feathers, and it's not like a blanket stuffed with it, it's an actual blanket is the turkey feathers. I did a video on that. Using pine needles, different ways of using pine needles to make baskets and other things. It's all using nature, things we've got. I did one on making furniture from bamboo. One using, you know, the leaves of like palms, like palm leaves, but we've got a tree like a yucca leaf. That's more the way to say it. Yucca leaf. Making shoes from yucca leaves. What's another one that's been in that? I did 2 episodes, but both contain 3 or 4 different ideas. From, I think everyone knows, car tires. You can make so much from them: bags and shoes and sandals. And the sandals you can actually make yourself. That's so easy. I did a video with those in. So I'm interested in that. Don't know how to make the alternative plastic, but we can buy them, and it is a compostable item. Have a great day. I've got to get to work. Okay, thanks. It's been really great chatting with you. Thanks for all your info. You got me going on that. Thanks a lot. So if anyone's got any ideas or anything about this, I'm really interested in it. If you've got a video or a link to a video of any of these things, really interested. And as I say, this seems to be the way to go. I would be sad about plastics only for the fact that I get old plastic and I reuse them. I find other uses for things. So I'm a salvager, and you'll see my indoor growing. It is all with these plastic containers. So in that respect, that won't be good for me. But yeah, as I say, if you're looking for an idea of something to make for the future, be the first people. So we're looking at hemp, corn, any of these ideas, and be the first one to get these things going. If you've got any links, do send them to me. I'm going to go and get something to eat now. So thanks for being here. I hope you enjoyed this live. If you did, don't forget, hit that thumbs up, comment below. And until next time, as always, Meraki.